This week on Induction Noise. Niku found me.
You're there, man. It's
Yeah.
Andre's got a reliable dealer.
They can definitely put you in touch to get your stuff.
And Neil is anxious to get home.
I promised breakfast tomorrow morning and it's getting late here, guys.
Gentlemen, welcome back to
Start
Induction
your
Noise.
engines. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, that's a different gentleman. Welcome back to Induction Noise. I am Mr. Q. With me is Neil,
Hello.
Andre,
Hey there.
and Niku.
how's it?
And we are back in my office, recording here at Gilmore Collection. And I've forgotten, what are we doing today?
We're just basically talking nonsense like we always do, but
That's normal.
and just throwing in some cars.
So,
Well, we're at it.
we need to just catch up on a couple of things, first of all, because a lot has been happening. Andre, you have been scooting around on your arse in a tiny white rocket ship.
White and blue.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us about it?
I'll go.
Or am I going to have to extract it from you?
The tiny white thing extracted from it.
You want to tell us about it?
It's still stuck there.
Right, guys, just a quick shout out to Master Panelbeaters for once again sponsoring our show. Master Panelbeaters is run by Stephen and his team out in Montague Gardens, and they are simply put amazing people to work with and amazing at what they do. They've recently also helped Andre out when the Ravster was slightly less than stellar in terms of its reliability. Nothing to do with them, but just goes to show how they would go above and beyond to help a fellow petrolhead. So, Stephen, a big shout out to you and your team at Master Panelbeaters. Let's get back to the episode.
So I bought a race car that we alluded to in our Swift review video.
Swift review of a Swift.
Yes.
Link below.
Moving on swiftly.
Yep.
So my race car is a Swift Nardini, which is an old Formula GTI one-seater open-wheeler that has been converted to a, like the Nardini part comes where it's converted into a closed cockpit car with a single seat. So it was like these Le Mans prototype type cars, single-seater. And it's a very fun thing to race. It is very light. It's actually very big. It's actually not a small car.
No.
It's actually...
It's got quite a footprint.
It's got quite a footprint. It's got a wang the size of, a
My
dining
wang.
room table. Wang Tang Clan. And it's got lots of little carbon fiber and light things and glass fiber and whatever. And like plywood and all sorts of cool little lightweight materials.
Now, can I just ask, because you arrived here this evening riding shotgun in your own Alpha 4C
That
with
is
Niku
correct.
driving, and you struggled, I think is probably the kindest way of putting
I think
it.
that's fair to say.
You struggled to get out of it.
Yes.
How the hell do you get in and out of a single-seater Nardini that's got all this bodywork around it and a cockpit the size of a shot glass?
It's got one little trick up its sleeve. You can take the steering wheel off.
And you can climb in from the roof.
Yes.
So
The door to climb in.
Andre actually has a perfect way of getting into this, and I've never seen someone get in so elegantly. So you grab onto the top roll bar, and you jump in with your one leg. Now you're facing the back of the car. Then you kind of like twist around, arms on the side, and you slide in. That's how you...
Basically like Twister, but for
Yeah.
grown-ups.
So kind of like putting on a giant pair of pants with an engine in the back.
And don't get to the strapping part. That's a fun part.
Strapping the,
There's some involuntary touching sometimes.
There's some man touching involved.
But do it for the team,
doing friends. Yeah.
So you guys have become intimately acquainted.
We're in touch.
No, I must admit, I was very pissed off that I missed that race. I really wanted to go. But I had to work, and then because I'd been working and doing lots of car things over weekends, I kind of had to go home and just spend some time earning some brownie points again, so that I don't have to spend Valentine's alone.
So you can go attend the next race day.
So I can go to the next race day, or go spanner on the Supra, or record podcasts 2 nights in a week. But yeah, we don't talk about that either.
So I mean, I couldn't. But I had Nico and Neil was there. Thanks for the support, Slacker. Yeah. And Nico was very much instrumental in me making it onto the grid and getting everything right. Stickers,
stickers.
It's not as easy as it looks putting stickers on a car.
Yeah,
it's quite tricky. Eh? We
learned this with Lemons.
Especially a car that's got like 7,000 angles just on the side of it.
It's got some complex curves.
Yeah, so that was tricky. But it was good fun. It was good fun racing with the sports and GT guys. Mm-hmm. A lot of guys I know from the Masters Sim League that Neil and I race in. So a lot of guys I know from there and from Killarney and all over. It was good fun. It was some very impressive machines that was racing there.
Mm-hmm. That Ginetta is
the Ginetta
insanely
G57,
fast.
I think is
It makes a beautiful noise.
I
was watching the live stream, and
it's got a big V8, big Alice V8 in the back.
It screams. It sounds gorgeous.
It is.
It's
basically an LMP2 car with some upgrades.
Quick. It is super quick. So you do sports and GT, and just for the people who are maybe not entirely versed on that particular class of racing, it's split into classes as well.
Yes, and the classes are based on lap times. So your best lap time in a race, there's these bands. So within like a 4-second band. So between, I think, 110 and 114 would be class A, I think. I don't know the details because I'm not quite there. But I'm currently in class D, which is anything over 1 minute 22 seconds. So the car has the potential to go a bit quicker. It was my first race with very limited preparation and practice. Mm-hmm. So I'll probably go a little bit quicker at some point, and I've got old tires and other excuses. There's
you just wrote them down beforehand. It's fine.
A whole lot of excuses we can provide.
You were pretty quick in any case for a guy that's not driven anything like that. And
look, I'm happy.
15 years.
It's my first time on the main circuit racing in a series for 15 years. So I'm pretty happy. But I must say, the karting helped a lot. Mm-hmm. It is just like a very big kart. It feels like a very big kart.
And your lap times, how far are you from breaking out into the next class?
So anything over 122 is in class D. I did 122, something in every race. I think in practice I did a 122,1 or something like that. So I'm pretty close to breaking out.
Okay. But you're running at the front of class D-ish.
Yeah, so I was second in class D for the
out of
day.
2 cars.
No, it was actually I have 5 or 7 cars.
Okay, so you're doing well.
Yeah, so it was fine. But I got up against some very fast Nissan 350Zs. There was one particular one with a turbo that was quite frustrating. We had a very good dice, but he's got all the power in the world. He's got double the power that I have, 300 kilowatts. But I'm a lot quicker through the corners and under brakes. So every time you just pull up next to this guy, and then he just pulls out from under me. So that was quite funny. And we happened to kill 2 GoPros.
Yeah, that wasn't fun.
In the process.
That kind of sucked, because I mean, I looked at this car, I'm like, oh, there's a GoPro mount, there's a GoPro mount. So obviously someone's stuck GoPros on it before, right? It didn't go that well.
They didn't say whether those GoPros survived.
So we kind of lost 2 GoPros. The one I could find a lens for, the other one's screen is just going to be screwed for the rest of its life, it's fine. It still records video, so I mean, it's still usable. I don't dive
Fit for
underwater
purpose.
or whatever. If you do a wet race, we'll just not use that GoPro. I guess.
It's not waterproof anymore. So yeah, but it was good fun. It was like I'm really looking forward to the next one in a few days. So yeah, should be good.
What do you think is the sort of the main things I mean, of course, you can probably like debriefed a bit and thought about where do you think you can easily make some time up?
So the
Get
gear
some
shift
games.
is kind of tricky with the whole, straight cut dog ring box that you have to rev match and all these things. So that's still a bit tricky. I still need to do the left foot braking thing and do a bit of practice. Just brake a bit later. Cornering speed I think is okay. Brake a bit later. Just obviously in general, just a few things I need to polish up on. New tires would go a long way. It's not a no-cost improvement but new tires would definitely make a bit of a difference. So I don't know.
I kind of think the gear shifts and the braking is going hand on hand because
Absolutely.
obviously since you kind of not as confident in your shifts, you brake in about, let's call it 80 meters where you would usually brake.
Definitely
where
braking earlier.
If you've got those gears down, you basically going to, with the brakes, use a lot more engine braking.
Absolutely.
And I think that's probably going to be your biggest winner in time.
There's a big game there.
100%.
And I mean, it's difficult. I mean, just sitting in that car, feeling where the gears is, it's hard.
Or rather say, sitting in the car, not feeling where the gears
Yes.
are. Because
No, it's kind of like throwing a sausage down a
Passageway.
passageway. It's just like it
It's
goes
a bit
where it
tricky.
goes, and that's that.
But it's nice. That's a challenge in itself, so it's cool.
And driving the car in traffic, is it intimidating, or are the guys fairly gentlemanly on the track and sort of-
Sports and GT, the guys are pretty, they're good racers. They're
I
quite
mean,
mature.
pretty much all of the guys racing in sports and GT, except the guys right at the front of the field, are basically funding their race out of their own pocket, aren't they?
Yeah, pretty much everybody's funding the race out of
So
them.
it's not like there's big sponsors behind it, and they don't really care if
No,
they ding
not
anything.
really.
So they really want to look after it.
Typically, if there are some guys with sponsorships, but typically if you sponsor it, it's probably the company that you own that's doing the sponsoring.
Like the Induction noise sponsored Nardini.
Induction is, thank you folks, the Induction is sponsored. That's correct.
And Class C, who's currently what would be like? I mean, because if you're going to break out there, what cars are you competing against?
Actually, with more, there's another Nardini that's quite quick.
Yeah.
The guy's been at it for a few years, so the car's quite sorted out quite well. So I think Class C is actually where the car kind of would be comfortable in. If you really hone everything in and everything's perfectly tuned in and you've got a very good driver, I think you can get to Class B with that car. But I'm not a Class B driver.
And I mean, that's basically doing 117s all day.
Yeah. So the car should be able to do that, obviously with new tires and everything. But my goal is to kind of get under the 120s. That's my short to medium term goal, I think.
Setup wise, like, would you need to do more setup work of it?
I have no idea what this setup is.
I mean,
You didn't take out the spirit level and check the camber.
the amount
I'm
of setup we
surprised.
did is we basically put some duct tape over the front wheel wells because
There was a bit of cracked
there was a
fiberglass.
bit of cracked fiberglass.
Yeah, that was
one
the
of
era
my
upgrade.
friends actually got some fiberglass in his finger, seen what's this? Oh, that's
There was a
fiberglass.
little hole that we closed up because we almost cut somebody's finger off with it. But I have absolutely no
Aerodynamic
idea.
upgrade.
I have absolutely no idea how much camber it's running, whether it is running any, whether nothing. I have
You didn't
no
even
idea.
adjust the seat. You literally
Nothing.
just got in it.
So the previous owner is the same size as I am, perfect fit the seat, and I just got in the car and drove it. I have no idea. So there's probably a bit of time there.
The
as well.
day before, I must admit, I topped up almost half of the clutch reservoir. The clutch reservoir was completely dry as a bone. And one of the brake reservoirs just didn't have anything in it.
So
So some maintenance done.
Yeah.
That's that.
we checked oil, we refilled some fluids, and that's about it that we did.
And you sent it.
We just sent it.
Send it. Basically, like you've been sending the sim racing, Neil. You've got
Luckily,
just
it's a
about
bit,
to
it's
say,
a lot, luckily a lot
you've been
simpler.
racing.
Yeah, virtually.
Virtually.
Quite a bit.
So yeah, Neil is quite the making the splash in the masters class.
Yeah, which you kindly introduced me to, and I'm really enjoying that actually quite a lot. We missed the first race. I can't remember for what reason. Were we actually busy with something here? I think we do something for induction or was on that
Can't remember.
Wednesday? I can't remember, but I missed the first one. Yeah, and I've joined a couple of races since. Learned some of the hard lessons. I need to figure out my starts a bit, but it's also quite nice, sim racing.
Pit stops.
Pit stops need to figure out not to jump starts, but
Those
yeah,
are
I
my
mean,
nemesis, pit stops.
just it's interesting. I mean, and you need to keep at it. You need to practice because the guys take it quite seriously.
No.
The standard is high. The pace and the standard of driving is pretty high.
Yeah, I mean, I came in quite hard the first race with the Formula 4s where I managed to qualify second actually, the first race and finished P3 the second race. After stuffing up my pit entry in the first race, and then it kind of went away. I knew the GT cars and iRacing is not really my forte, but yeah, I mean, I did, for instance, Road Atlanta. We did the next race, Road Atlanta, with GTEs. Never driven the track on virtually or with the cars, and I don't know if I should say it, but I did like 300 laps practice.
Wow.
And just to end up realizing that the $15 I spent on iRenting. Getting the Porsche is not the right car for the track. It's not suited for the conditions. But yeah, I managed the 6th and the 7th and the 6th. Yeah, and then last night we had in the BMWs, which was interesting.
Oh. I hope the real car isn't that as bad as that.
No,
to drive.
hopefully
It's
not.
the M2 Club Sport without traction control.
Hang on a second. So you're saying that you hope the real car isn't that bad. Now, every report or review I've ever read of that car says that it's brilliant. So the fact that it's not brilliant in iRacing seems to stand against your claim that iRacing has infallible physics and that Assetto Corsa is nothing but an arcade sim.
So are you saying that Assetto Corsa would have a more realistic feel for an M2 CS? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I put it to you, sir, that Assetto Corsa's physics on that car
That specific
and
setup
quite a lot of
It's
other
the
and that
cars.
specific track was really
And also,
difficult.
remember, that's the car on slicks and everything. It's not the road car.
Yeah.
It is, and that car just, and without traction control,
Yeah,
it just doesn't work.
Our league also, like the league we race in, they do a specific setup, and this time around they decided to even go deviate further. Apparently that's how racing drivers drive them. I don't know.
We probably don't have the talent.
Yes,
We
don't
don't have the talent to
do
drive
that.
it on the edge like that, I guess.
So, because the fixed setup on iRacing, look, I've got my own reservations on GT cars on iRacing in any case, but I guess that's a topic for
GT3 is a
another.
problem on iRacing.
It's a topic for another day, but it makes it nice and tricky, hard, and difficult to race. But other than that, I've not actually. I must maybe put it to you guys because I'm a little bit, I've re-railed my kart last year and I've not been out again. I'm kind of in a good position physically to go drive the kart, but I've not been able to do it. So
But you hurt yourself in MMA or something.
yeah, I got punched in the ribs, which was fun. But hopefully I can get back in the kart pretty soon and see how that goes.
Make
Looking
love, not
forward
war,
to that.
man. Don't
Yeah.
I'm quite excited to see you back in the kart because we were so close to you getting back to the 41s, etc. It's like you're there, man. It's so close. And that last race you went out, I could have sworn we swapped everything around. We did the setup correctly for the first time in 5 weekends, and I was convinced that you're gonna get under that 41 or into what you wanted to do, and with your light physique now, and then your driving you've been doing on the sim, I can't see any reason why you will not demolish your goal.
Yeah, I hope so. I think it's the field. Luckily for DD2 is quite good. DD2 Masters is good. There's
the competition is now hectic.
very, very heavy, and they're actually talking about expanding or there is
Yeah.
talks of trying to expand it a little bit to make it a bit more
Bit of a master's, old man's
class. But
senior's class.
I enjoy like measuring myself against guys of that caliber. So let's see. My aim would be, as I said, is I still think like maybe, hopefully, if I do, I need to get in the kart more.
Yeah.
But I think there's no excuses from the weight side anymore. I've got a fresher rail on it, so I should be able to be a bit more competitive.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't do that many races this year, just get some practice laps. I mean,
Yeah.
even if you drive the tires to the core and just get some nice practice in, get
Yeah.
yourself where you want to be, and say, okay, cool, I'm going to focus the next season that comes up in a year or whatever, and really go for it. I mean, obviously not going to go and travel the world or whatever. Well, unless you
yet.
want. But yeah, I don't know. I just think you're going to be fast. I mean,
Yeah.
you're a smooth driver, and I think the smoothness really showed yesterday in the second race with that M2. I mean, you went out second and you stayed there. No one really caught you. It's not like you were a slower driver than the guys that was there, and you really needed to drive that car smooth.
Yeah, no, thanks. I mean, let's see how it goes. Luckily, when you're there to help me do the setup of the kart, so I don't flip tires around anymore, so that's always useful.
I actually thought we did the same on the Nardini, but apparently on the Nardini you can do left on right and right
It's
on
not
left.
as finicky as
apparently it's
the-
not as finicky. But I was like, because I remember that vividly. I'm like, oh shit, we had the tires on the backwards, etc. And I was like, okay, Andre, we need to do this. And he went to the guy, I was like, no, leave it. Just like, oh, okay.
Those
let me
stars
leave
are
it.
so old, it wouldn't have made a difference, Drew.
So, just going back to sim racing briefly, Nico, you've been trying the new Assetto Corsa.
Yeah.
I haven't actually tried.
What's it like? Is it any better than the old one? Is it
Still in
different?
development, right? It's still like
Yeah,
a
no, it's still
pre-launch.
early access on
Which
Steam.
I believe is cool, because essentially, if you go and look at what any games, let's not talk just about Sims, but games cost now, it's like more than $1,000. You can buy the beta and know that there is going to be bugs for like $300, and you're going to have the full game,
Eventually get the full one, yeah.
But it feels bloody good. It really feels bloody good, and I think the
Does it
stuff.
feel a lot like the old one, or
I would say it feels a bit more refined than the old one, but you can feel some of the cars as I think the tire models they can maybe improve a little bit. I haven't played in a while, so I know there's been quite a few updates, but it feels a lot more. It's not as forgiving as the old one.
okay.
It's a bit less forgiving, but in a way that you would expect.
Okay.
You would expect driving this car at that speed, let's call it a 488 GT3 car. You would expect driving that car at some crazy speed that you're not just going to be a driving legend when you get into the first few laps you do. You really need to start focusing up. And I think the biggest change of it all, except like, the graphics or whatever, but all the mods that the old Assetto had kind of solved the graphics issues. The biggest thing I think that Assetto has going forward with the new car is the dynamic weather. The dynamic weather, the way it plays into like the feel of the drive is awesome. I mean, while you're driving, you can feel, there's a dry line developing, etc. And I feel like all the simulators up until this far is, if it's wet, it's slippy. There's no, this line is better or whatever. It's
iRacing now.
iRacing
iRacing's-
does. No, I've tried
brain is pretty
iRacings, but it's not super dynamic. You've kind of got your puddles that grow, and you know, like, okay, that's where the wet, and it's in logical places. That is where a wet line would be.
Would be like that.
But it's not dynamic in the sense when you
Doesn't
drive
move.
through it, it doesn't move.
Okay.
It stays there. Where Assetto's weather is a lot more dynamic in that sense. And you also bring in quite a bit of a modding side to Assetto, not modding like the old Assetto, that is still there. But you can actually modify your cars and do a stage 2 on your
And then
car
the
that
Evo
you're
one is-
driving, yes.
Okay.
And you've got the entire, like, doing the licenses and so it feels more like you
It's a bit
working
more
towards
complete.
a goal instead of, it's something that you can get into and forget about the day. And you're still going to have to drive, not play a game. You're still going to have to know how to drive. So I do believe it's going to improve. I'm not saying it's perfect by any means. As I said, the tire model on the breakaway feel can improve a little bit. So with some vehicles, it feels like they break away a bit more unpredictable than it should. But I think that's stuff that I've seen a few people complain about that, and they are working on fixing that. And it's really just like a handful of cars.
But it's really good as well. Like, I mean, the model, I mean, and also I think in terms of the options there, I mean, there's also Le Mans Ultimate that was launched not too long ago.
I heard about that.
Which is apparently like really, really good. And I've watched some like interesting reviews of that, especially I know David Burrell did a review compared, and he said like he finds himself jumping in a lot from a GT3 perspective into Le Mans Ultimate. So it's quite a cool. I think there's quite a lot of options. You know, just to add basically, if I can, like for the league that we're driving in for over 35. So if there's anyone listening that's keen to join us, you know, please reach out and come and join the racing of gentlemen. If you're a gentleman driver and you like some good discussions and some lacquer close racing.
If you're older than 35 and you have a sim rig, then, and you do like racing, and you do like racing against real racing drivers and proper gentlemen and guys who have raced these Porsches in real life and real race cars, and some legends, you know. We've got not just drivers. We've got Willem, Willem Botha, who's the crew chief from Gazoo Racing, that heads up the crew at the car. You know, we've got a bunch of other race drivers. We've got Gerald Free, Leighton Free's dad, that races with us, and a bunch of Killarney legends.
Steven's there.
You have Stephen McCarthy's there. And we've got some guys that are like not there all the time, but Johan Fourie used to race with us quite a bit. I haven't seen him in a while. Multiple South African champion, Michael Steven, you know, Uber legend, his brother Graham. So there's really, really high standard of racing and a high pace as well. So if you want to learn better racing, you know, absolutely. And I started racing sports and GT cars after I've been racing with these guys for a while. So it's definitely a way for you without spending gazillions to kind of start racing against this guy, learn some racecraft and get kind of your head around it. And you can also, there's some functions that you can talk to these guys and learn from them and ask them tips around getting into racing, etc. So if you have stuff, there's no reason you shouldn't be racing with us. If you don't have a sim setup and you are still interested in this, you know, give us a shout as well. Chat to Neil or myself.
Or speak to Niku, because CodePure can hook you up with the rig.
Yeah, can do that as well.
You can do that.
Yeah, of course.
Chat to us about the league, and they can definitely put you in touch to get your stuff, and we can talk about what makes sense. We have an episode. You know, a link.
We have an episode. I'll put link there.
We'll do like Andrew Raxer. We'll put the link somewhere to refer back to that.
I must admit, I do wish I could race more with you guys, because I really, I mean, I think you guys would annihilate me, and with like when us four jump on the track, I feel like you guys are very quick. I really wish there was more leagues that I can race with you guys, and I think
should just create one, to be honest.
No, we can.
Some racing wise, there's no proper leagues like.
If you want to join the Induction Noise Racing League, leave a comment below.
I do think that's the one thing iRacing really does very well still, is the way the races work. Even if you're not racing in a league or anything, the way a race is set up and the open lobbies,
the licenses and
it
stuff.
just works better. Because in a Assetto lobby, it's kind of you're like jumping into a Forza lobby. Everyone's just mucking about, etc. And it's, you know,
there's no standards.
Yes.
But on Assetto, we quite often jump in on our own little server and we have a little dice. And every time we've done that, quite frankly, you guys have a lot more racing experience than me, and you kick my ass 6 weeks to Sundays.
It also helps a lot. We also have slightly different equipment.
Yeah. I have 20-year-old PC that barely runs Assetto with a frame rate of like 2 frames a second.
That's going to affect your
It's going to
performance.
affect my performance. But
Apart from when we do Simola.
Yeah, I
That
wanted to
was what-
say
that's what I was going to say. It was the weirdest thing. The other night, Niku gives us this beautiful Daytona Cobra race car, the coupe, and the 3 of us jumped in. You weren't there, Andre.
No.
But Niku, Neil, and myself jump in on the survey, and and we start racing up Samola, and
Me and Neil couldn't keep up.
you
You were
you
just like,
guys...
you were just gelling with the thing. I hated that thing. I spent more time in the crowd spinning into
Oh,
like,
I
you know,
love
taking
that
out-
car, though. It was so much fun.
I absolutely hated it. I absolutely hated it. Like, it's
yeah.
such a cool thing.
And I couldn't
I'd love to drive it in
understand.
real life. I do not on the sim. I could not gel with it.
For
at all.
some reason, for me and Neil, there's this freak pothole every
always
time.
There's
like to eat it.
just as you go up the hill,
Maybe
that
that's
first,
the fastest line that you guys choose, and it doesn't work.
that big left-hander at the top.
Under the bridge.
And I go up and I go through it, and they try and follow me up
And
and
we
follow
literally
my
do
line.
somersaults.
And I could just see them. I go around the corner and I carry on up the track, and I just see their cars doing
I got
360s.
picked up by a
behind
twister.
me.
I couldn't understand that. It went above my head of why the hell do we keep on hitting? I'm like, Quentin, let us follow you. I did the exact same line. And I still can't get it to work.
Someone needs to rescan that track because if that track looks like that in real life, I feel sorry for your cars basically.
My car's screwed.
this year, yeah.
But honestly, you know, if you have a sim rig and you've never raced online with your friends or anything, you have to do it because it is actually so much fun when you can race together and drive together.
And it costs nothing to do that. You
No.
obviously need a kit in the first place, but
But
you know,
I
you
mean,
can
it's,
just
and we lose ourselves completely. I mean, this is in a weeknight, you know, on a school night. We're supposed to be working the next day and everything, and we'd be racing until 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock the next morning.
what's cool is you can actually just it's a way for your mates to just go online, talk some nonsense while you are driving
Yeah.
around, and
No, it's like
just
it's-
you know, have a bit of a breather end of the day, catch up a bit, and yeah, it's lekker.
It was interesting for me in that last iRacing race you guys did, that they actually called you in on the Discord. Like while you're driving.
Yeah,
I
that was not
like-
planned. I was quite surprised. I didn't.
I wanted to say I could
Did you
hear,
speak on the Discord?
Yeah, twice.
I must go watch it.
I could hear Neil's voice. Neil is like, yeah. You can hear like Neil struggling to keep this thing on the road, and they just want to know. It's like, Neil, do you think you can catch them? You know, and he's like, well, I'm trying.
I'm trying really hard here at the moment, so
See, there's a lot of like Liberty Media kind of gimmicks that's entering this league now. Since
yeah,
I
no,
was here the last time.
we all can hear it. So I was basically,
Sheesh.
so I had a bit of a coming together with one of the guys. So in it, I was waiting for them to come back to me and talk to me because I thought in my head, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say, I'm going to troll. So I thought to myself, I'm going to say, I already had it worked out. So like, you know what? I know exactly. I think about Sochi 2016. Sebastian Vettel getting absolutely sent by Daniel Kvyat. I know exactly how Vettel now feels after this. And they didn't come back to me afterwards. I thought to myself, I should have just said that basically.
You would have
But
done better in the race if you weren't thinking about this nonsense.
no, but it was
That's funny.
It's funny, like so they were asking us like upfront just how it's going, and it's actually quite cool, making a bit of interactive.
Nice.
Lekker, man. Well, guys, today's sort of topic of discussion is sort of got a Valentine's theme to it, because I don't know when this episode's going to go out, but
The week of love.
Valentine's
We find
is
ourselves in the
tomorrow.
week of love. Yeah.
And Valentine's is tomorrow, and we've all left our wives at home so we can record podcast. Anyway,
Are you
that's
guys sorted for
commitment
tomorrow?
right there.
By the time we get home, it's going to be Valentine's Day.
I promised breakfast tomorrow morning, and it's getting late here, guys. So.
So we're gonna go sort of slightly on a downer, but then we'll finish on an upper, because the first bit is all the brands we've loved before, the car brands that we used to think these guys make the best cars in the world, and they've kind of just either lost their soul or their direction.
Either cool down or they broke our hearts.
And they just disappoint us, you know, and we're not angry, we're just disappointed. So I think, you know, someone else is going to mention the other ones that I'm thinking of, but therefore I must mention, oh, geez, I don't even want to say, Jaguar. Like, a car company that doesn't make cars. And all they have made is an advert that was so just 8 years too late.
Random and ridiculous.
Random, ridiculous, 8 years too late for the sort of climate of where the social sort of norms are moving. And and then they come up with this vision of their car and what they're going to look like. And it's like,
Looks like a Lego block.
It's not a pretty car, and the design is idiotic. You're telling us this thing's going to be electric, but it has a bonnet like an aircraft carrier sticking out the front of it. What the hell is that? I mean, are you going to make the frunk that big? Because I can tell you, putting bags in and out of that thing is going to be a mission, because you've got to lift everything over the bloody body to get there. It just doesn't make any sense. The back end looks like an air conditioner unit, and not a nice one. The old 1980s ones that you used to stick through an open window. It's just, what are they thinking?
What makes it worse?
I know where the design of that came from. It's Miss Penelope's Thunderbird 2 or Thunderbird 1, that pink Thunderbird.
I was just thinking it reminds me of like there's a Hot Wheels car called High Roller.
Yeah.
That's like reminds me very much of that. It's like looks like a little Hot Wheels car, basically.
Yeah, it doesn't look like something that is really going to be made. And I actually kind of don't think it is going to be made.
I don't think it's ever going to be made.
Is there
And
more information on it already? Because there was this whole hype about it, it's like 2 months ago?
Yeah, but
now it's like, has there been any more information?
It's a bad AI drawing. That's basically
Trump got elected, basically. They realized, oh shit, this isn't going to work. And they've just gone silent.
Our core market in California is not going to be interested in this anymore, basically. Like
but I don't think that car's ever going to be built. And there's a very good reason for it. Jag has no money. How are they going to develop?
and no interested customers in that. either.
They've basically said, we don't care if we alienate our loyal customer base, which, let's face it, Jaguar kind of depends on loyal Jag fans to sell any cars.
Not that many of them left.
Not many of them left. And Jag has
One is
just
here.
basically put the big middle finger up for them and said, screw you guys, we're building this, even if no one wants it. And they're never going to have, they don't have any money to develop this car, so I don't know what the hell they're going to do.
So that's all bad, right? I agree that's bad. But what makes it way worse is that this is the same company that made the Jag E-Type,
Yeah.
that made the XK Jags, that made the
XJ220.
Exactly. I mean, some of the most iconic
The
sports cars.
X-Type Jag diesel station wagon.
They made the guy from Harry Potter designed a station wagon.
It's Ian oh, gee.
But there's the funny thing is, right, if you, I mean, I don't want to give away the second part of the question, but if you had asked this question, what is your most unlikely favorite car brand, right? 5 years ago, for me, that would have been Jaguar. Because I really like the F-Type, the XE.
Yeah.
I really like actually the F-Pace, the E-Pace. I quite like them. I really like the styling of it. The entire range, entire range of cars. I thought these cars,
cool cars,
and their interiors looked amazing.
And they had lacquer engines as well.
Yes.
They had nice
Yes.
V6. The V8s were lacquer.
And they offer good value compared to their competition. But I genuinely just don't know what the hell they were thinking.
I've never seen a car company lose the plot as much
that
as
badly. No,
But
it's,
do you not
insane.
think like all of them are? Because if you look at like the current sort of state, I don't know if you've like what you hear about car companies in Germany and so on. There's going to be my fear is we're going to be driving appliances built in another country that I hope is somehow cool. and still caters to us
They
as
have
the
a more
petrol is.
Eastern flavour to it.
Yes, but they're all going to have screens the size of this table in them.
Well,
basically.
they already do. The Germans already have those as well. So.
True.
So,
But I mean, at least there's not a waifu, in the background, playing around on the screen.
It's fine. We'll put one in the Supra's dashboard.
Before we run out of time, Neil, who has disappointed you? Who has angered our gentle giant?
Tell us
Yo,
what went
it's
wrong.
probably it's a when you posted this question earlier, I thought to myself, sure, this is like you couldn't have made it a more difficult one. But I have to go back because I was such a fan growing up, and that's Volkswagen. I'm sorry to say it like that. I really want, and in one of the episodes, I don't know when that is, I said like I would prefer a certain Volkswagen for an event. But of the current sort of cars that they make,
There's not really a lot
there's
that you
not really
want,
a lot
really.
that you, exactly. And I mean, maybe by extension.
I actually think that probably one or two. I don't know if it's part of the current range or whether it's just gone out of production or whatever. But there's two cars that I've really liked out of the VW range, but no one else seems to like them.
CC.
The CC,
Yes.
and I think it's called the Arteon.
Arteon,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
It's
yes,
a
The sedans were
beautiful car.
nice. Yeah.
Really cool looking
But
thing.
no one buys the damn
No.
thing.
And in the UK, you got a Arteon.
W12, eh?
You got the Arteon, like a
Wagon.
estate,
Yeah.
but it was a shooting brake.
Oh,
And then you
wow.
got
Yeah,
it with full motion. It had a 2-liter turbo, but the one with like 220 kilowatt.
Okay.
Yeah.
That thing was, and that looked. I agree with you. That
it's
looked
a
amazing.
They have that
looking
engine in
car.
South Africa as well, that formation.
Yeah. It's in the Tiggo. It's in the Tiguan actually.
Yeah.
Tiguan R and the Golf R engine basically. I mean, I've never gone and looked at any of the new sort of Volkswagen brands. The last thing I was really interested in was, I mean, I love the Golf 5 GTI. I love
yes.
Golf. I mean, my dad had a Golf 4 Jetta. I recently saw a Mark 4 Jetta 1.9 TDI with like low mileage, exactly the spec my dad had, for 80,000 Rand. And I thought to
As a
myself,
daily, that's
shit,
actually
I actually
perfect.
should buy that for nostalgic reasons, just because my dad had.
But actually, as a daily, that would be great.
Yeah, but they had the diesel. And I remember Wiel Tijdschrift, Wiel, back in the day, tested the Jetta 4 TDI 1.9 against the 320 diesel BMW.
Yeah.
And they chose the Jetta above the BM.
Was a bit
weirdly
slower,
enough.
but it's probably a better car.
Yeah, they said like overall because of I think it was like half, remember Wiel had stars?
Yeah.
And it was like half
a
a little
star
star.
more, yeah.
And I remember because my grandpa had the 320D of
And you
that
guys had-
shape, and we had the Jetta Planet that had the 2-liter, just a normal 2-liter
Yeah.
basically. But the build quality of the cars back then,
That's that
Crazy.
era. That
you had a few of those BMs as well.
they
I think.
were
Yeah.
very well built.
Yeah,
those
those
Volkswagens were the Golf 5 GTI. The
I
build
love my
quality
Golf
was
GTI.
epic.
Yeah, you had
I
a
think
few-
it's
look at
one
them.
it's one GTI that we all kind of
No, I don't like the 5.
No,
Yeah, well, the 5 was
The
you weren't even
5.
born when the 5 came out.
the 5 was peak GTI.
No,
I
One,
don't think so.
1 and 5.
It's
I
no
feel
better
like the
GTI.
5 was a bit fat and underpowered.
No,
So
are
thinking
you
about the
crazy,
four?
dude?
Are you not thinking about the 4?
No, the
You're
5 was
crazy.
better than the 4, but I think the 6 was better than the 5.
No, the 6
No,
was
the 6 was the
the 6 was
evolution.
watered down.
6 had exactly the same power as the 5.
The 6
Just
was
a crapper
the
engine.
Golf 6 was the filler, like Ferrari did with the F8
No, no,
Tributo.
you know what
that was the F8. That was the filler between the 7. The Golf 6 should have been a Golf 7, basically.
Yeah.
Do you know what the Golf 6 really was?
A better looking Golf 5.
No. Well, it's not about the
No.
looks, but the Golf 6 came out because the Golf 5's production
Was
cost
too
was too
expensive to
expensive.
build because it was
So
too
they
well built.
simplified the design of the Golf 5 to build the Golf 6
So it's a-
cheaper.
So it's a Golf 5. So what we have here,
Golf 5
folks,
Lite.
a Golf 6 GTI is a Golf 5 GTI from Temu.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
And-
fine.
and the other
It's
thing is-
absolutely fine.
Can I just say that the Golf 5 GTI, one of the best gauge clusters of any car ever.
It was very
Yes,
cool.
I
It's really
love
cool.
that blue with the red dials, and it went to 300, and the scale on the speedometer changed halfway around.
As a design,
It was
as,
just
as
a stunning
the whole
looking
design,
thing.
the feel inside, the look of the thing was
And it made a
really,
really good
It was
noise.
Yeah, it
really,
sounded
it was
really well.
really looked very like modern, not
Yeah.
futuristic, but like fresh, modern. It was, but I must say, Volkswagen in those days, that their design language was. Now it looks kind of silly, but when it came out, the original TT was very like
Yes.
so distinctive, and it was like so fresh. The A4 as well, the
Yes.
Audi A4, they had these
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
this weird
The
shape.
VAG
very-
group.
The VAG.
Is it the VAG? Is it
it is
the VAG group?
Vag group.
Okay.
Yes, I was also very disappointed by the
Vegetables, man. Vegetables.
I watched the documentary and was a bit disappointed on the subject matter. It was not what I thought it was. Andre, who has disappointed you?
I will go for a brand from which country do you think?
Italy.
Germany.
Sweden.
Italy.
I think you're gonna say what I was thinking, but say it.
Fiat.
So
You can't say it's not gonna be Alpha.
there's a brand.
Lancia.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
but Lancia.
There's a
Jeez.
brand that when I was a kid,
You bastard! I want to say that.
you have time to think. So when I was a kid,
Calm off for saying the Golf 5 is the worst.
exactly. So,
It is though.
so there's one car that has forever, since I can remember, when you have to make a list of your top 5 favorite cars, top
Delta
10
Integrale.
cars. The Lancia Delta Integrale is the one car that has never left my top 10 list in my
But
life.
it's kind of like a universal top 10 car for most people. I mean,
There's
it was
something
iconic
about
about it.
It's just, it's just a hatchback.
Have you seen? Sorry, I'm interrupting you guys, but I'm like super excited about
Yes.
this. Have you seen? I recently went to the Lawrence Fit Museum.
Yes.
There's a white Integrale standing in that collection
Yes.
with blue seats. It
Yes.
has got like 30,000 Ks on it.
Yeah,
And
it's like navy blue.
compomotive rims.
Yeah.
It is beautiful. Pay
Yes.
the entry fee. You can pay the entry just to go and
So,
see that.
so can I tell you
Sorry, I
the best,
interrupted you,
the
but
best
that's like
part of when I was in Milan, walking from the what's that old church there again?
Duomo.
Yeah, walking from the Duomo back to the train station. Quite a walk, I must say.
It is quite a walk.
There was a Lancia. There was first a SF90 and a Lambo. There was a lot of cars, but this legend in a Delta Integrale just came flying up the street on the cobblestone, just
Oh, that,
ragging it.
At
Seeing
home.
that in Milan was just,
Yeah.
you know,
Is there currently a Lancia being made except the
Yes.
Ypsilon? Is the Ypsilon
Yes.
still around?
Ypsilon.
Is it just the Ypsilon?
they make the Upsilon, yes.
The poops along.
The Upsilon that I drove in Italy, that is
that's-
the worst car that I've driven. I would,
Worse even than a CVT.
I would, no. I would rate it higher I would rate the manual Swift higher than I would rate the Epsilon.
I might even rate the CVT
I
Swift.
wouldn't rate the CVT higher.
I
It's got a real manual box.
I would rate the long walk from Duomo to the station better than the Epsilon.
Well, in fairness, I would rate that higher than most of the new cars today.
But yeah,
so-
I think I have to agree with you.
so
Lancia
Lancia built-
to come from where they were
Yeah, but I mean,
to
it's-
building that
but it's not just
horrible
that.
pile of misery.
I mean, they had made these beautiful little coupes, the Beta and the Fulvio, and they had made all these beautiful cars. The Thema was a very interesting car. You had one with a Ferrari, the 8.32.
yeah.
It had the Ferrari 308's engine in. There was a 2-liter turbo version that was hella fast. It was just brilliant cars.
But they were also great looking cars.
Yes.
And this new thing is catastrophically ugly.
But that's one. They do make a Delta now, which is basically a
SUV. Is it an SUV?
No. It's like a Giulietta. It's got a weird shape. It almost looks like a Fiat Bravo and a Bravo.
Insert picture here.
But it's
What is it
got the underpinnings of it's a Delta, but it's got the underpinnings of it's a front wheel drive. It's a bit like the Giulietta. It's got a 1750 motor from Giulietta.
But isn't that just...
I don't know if they still make them, but they made them up recently, so
Yeah.
you still see them around in Italy. But brother, there are better looking ones. That one's pretty freaking bad. Okay?
Oh, wow, that is...
But they all have that design language, that kind of barf-inducing design language.
If you look at its face, it looks like it just smelled a really bad fart. It
That
goes,
is, it's very
what
bad.
it looks like.
So that's a heartbreaker.
It looks
I
like
mean,
a PT Cruiser.
no, so on that point, Brew, now that you mentioned that, right? Yes. What I saw was a Chrysler Voyager, right? It's the little bus
Oh yeah, they rebranded
with a Lancia badge on it.
Oh no.
I saw a 300C, you know, the Steve Hofmeyer mobile. I saw one of those. So that is exclusive. A 300C is exclusively driven
by Steve
by
Hofmeyer.
wannabe gangsters and Steve Hofmeyer in South Africa.
Do they drive around and pick on refugees in Italy? Basically, is that what you're saying?
No, Steve Hofmeyer legit had one of those. Okay, it's probably a V6 or something, but not even the good one.
You swam across the Mediterranean.
Not-
Get out, man.
Not even the good one.
Fuck, don't post that. I'm gonna get.
So I mean,
Say that to my employer.
it is really, it's like the crappiest Chryslers now have Lancia badges on them.
Yeah.
So
Is
that was pretty
Lancia,
sad.
is Lancia owned by General Motors or?
It's Stellantis.
Stellantis, yeah.
Okay,
No.
so yeah, of course the Stellantis group is quite broad.
So Stellantis, sorry about that. Since you do not sell Lancias in South Africa, thank you for not selling them yet.
Yeah.
Because they're pretty bad.
Nico, who has grinded your gears?
Well, I had to think about it now for a second because Andre had a good thought once.
Yes,
Wow.
Spicy.
I kind of have an answer.
I'll
That's
just let you drive his 4C.
I know, it's
I was
amazing.
thinking in the nods,
I
basically.
was
Walking out.
I was like a little kid while I was driving the car. I didn't want to show it, but I was like, key.
Bro.
Not driving it with your hands.
He was driving so freaking slow, dude.
Yeah, but it's not my car.
I don't think he went
And
over
I- and I
3,000
mean-
RPM once. I was like,
Well, we were in traffic. I was not about to just drive the shit out of your car.
he
in
was
traffic.
cruising 100 k's an hour on the N1. I'm like,
Nice.
Nissan.
Really?
Yes,
yes, really.
really. Because, and the only good car I feel like they make is not as good as what Toyota makes, and we don't get them in South Africa. Other than that, the range that Nissan currently has is garbage.
Well, yeah, but that's been the case for a long time. I mean,
No. What good proper 4x4 SUV do they make?
It's
That
that's
petrol is like 100 years old. It's
Yes.
got the engine from
But you can
baby
still buy it.
Jesus days.
You can still buy it.
Okay? No, and looks dog ugly.
It's big in Qatar. I love
So,
them.
there's no more Pathfinder. The Pathfinder was brilliant. The Navara is also...
The new Navara's been watered down quite a bit.
well, the
It's-
new
it doesn't
Navara is a
compete.
Merc.
I quite like the
I like the new Navara.
There is the Merc and the
new
new
Navara is the only thing I'd probably buy. Is there's like
It's-
2X and a
it's
It's a
4X
lot
yeah,
cheaper.
like-
It's a lot cheaper than the Toyotas and the.
It's the only thing I'll buy, but once again, the technology in that thing is dog years old. The
What
mo-
technology?
Exactly.
No, but I mean, what kind of
No, like
technology
the
are you talking
engine
about?
technology and just what they use in the car. It's the same 2.5 that our Pathfinder from 2006 had in.
You know.
I mean, there's a reason why Honda needs to bail them out now, right? So
Yeah. The
I heard
X-Trail,
the deal is gonna. That deal's not happening.
the deal's tanking.
It's
Yeah.
cancelled.
okay, and
The-
instead of what, basically, what are they doing? From a definitely,
They're going to start selling cars on Temu.
I really, I actually thought about Nissan as well.
because
Yeah.
think
When
of
we
what
bought
they
it up.
made back in 2000s. You had the 200SX and the
350Z,
S03, the
you had the
350Z.
Skylines,
You had a
GTR,
you had
you had the
an
R35.
NP300 that was a workhorse.
Yeah,
Is,
you had
is the 400
Navara.
the 400Z like coming out to South Africa?
No,
Why
we're
not?
not getting that.
And I would not
They
buy
just-
it.
But
Sorry
I
to say,
also want to
wouldn't-
say, like, why would you?
I would buy
want
the
to-
new
But
Supra.
at least it's something that they're building that's interesting.
No,
But
definitely,
Have
but
you read-
that's all.
the reviews for me as like as a Nissan sort of like a JDM guy, like I wouldn't, I when that car came out, I remember watching the pitch and thought like, if this comes out in South Africa, I'm going to call Nissan and I'm going to find out actually what does this cost. What I
Yeah.
really want to know,
No, aim
what
to
is a
maybe buy
blue one? What is that I want the one exactly like Daytona blue,
Yeah.
black rims. What is it going to cost in manual?
Yeah.
And then I started reading and watching the reviews of it. I'm like,
Ew.
Rather,
Yeah.
ew.
I don't want it.
I think I just stick with the Supra, to be honest.
Exactly.
So actually, I mean,
Or a dark horse, or a, I mean,
Yeah, Mustang
Mustang
Dark
Dark
Horse.
but to your point, actually the Navara is the one.
It's the one
It's the
car
one
they make that's fine.
The one that's acceptable. That's okay.
But you remember when the Navara came out, like the boxy shape one?
old Navara, the big one,
Yeah, Nissan like then was heavy off-road racing. They were racing Dakar.
Yeah.
And that thing had a V6 in it. Like everyone wanted
yeah,
the
4
V6.
litre V6,
4 litre V6 Navara.
And
that was a Leisure Bucky. That was like
the Bucky. That was actually before the look, at one point it was the V6 Amaroks was the Bucky,
Yes.
right? To have just
before
before that,
yes.
you got a 3 litre V6 diesel Navara.
Yes.
It was an expensive thing.
Yeah.
Quite an impressive thing. That ruled the roost.
Yeah.
But the problem is, as you say, the only thing in their range that's okay is the Navara. But the problem is the segment in which the Navara sits, you now have...
You're not going to outsell a Hilux and a
There's
Ranger.
a Hilux, there's the Ranger, Peugeot's now got a Bucky out, you've got...
All the Chinese.
In fact, you've got all the Chinese. Okay doesn't cut it anymore.
I would actually, you know what, like I would...
But it's a lot cheaper though.
It's cheaper, but it's not cheaper than the Chinese, and the Chinese are probably
I
better.
would rather have a Mitsubishi Triton over the Nissan Navara, and it's cheaper.
Yeah. No, it's not cheaper. The
You know
Triton
what?
is as expensive as the
But you know what I would buy second hand? Like if you say like you need like a good Bucky second hand, I'd actually buy a second hand X-Class. Because the interior of it is quite nice. It
I've
looks
actually
quite
looked at
nice.
that.
And it's actually just a Nissan underneath. So
I've actually
I would
thought
actually
of
buy
that.
like an X-Class.
You know?
Because it looks a little bit like yuppie.
Like, you're gonna pay more than the Nissan, but it's you know,
It looks a bit more...
it's look a bit more Lani, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Gentlemanly.
Yeah, it looks a bit more Lani, bro.
So,
X-Class.
enough
But-
of the downers.
Except for the Navara and the Patrol, show me a Nissan that does not have a CVT box. You will find that very difficult to do because all the other cars have CVT boxes.
Yeah.
And the Nissan Magnite is crap.
Oh. And
Everything
I
is
find-
crap that they make.
But here's the
except
thing.
for the Navara, yeah.
You sit in traffic, and there's some diddy asshole sitting in the frickin' right-hand lane doing 85 k's an hour trying to overtake the truck that's doing 84. It's almost always a Magnite.
Yeah.
Unless it's a Renault Quid.
It's a freaking Magnite.
Unless
for
it's a Renault
disaster.
Quid.
Yeah. Or a Hyundai i10 or Atos.
Okay, enough downers. Okay? Let's turn up the wick for
It's like
positivity
Venga boys. Up
and make cars great again.
Neil's tunes, the Venga
What
Boys.
are your unlikely heroes? The brands that you never thought you would like Neil said 5 years ago he would have said Jag, but the stuff that you never looked at before that now suddenly they're making cars that make
grew
you
on
go,
Yeah.
Funny enough, I'm going with Nissan's competitor, Toyota.
Ah, now you stole mine.
Boston.
Flip, now I have to... You would have said the same. I was going to say the same thing as well.
For anybody
I
that
mean,
doesn't say Toyota, you have to. Toyota needs
I
to be.
mean,
now I have
back in
so
the day.
can we
I
jump
mean,
from you to you?
back in the
Because now
back in the day, you obviously had the proper Supras, you had the E86, whatever, but your normal day-to-day cars were reliable, but they were boring as hell.
oh yeah.
And I mean, the Corollas, let's say from the 2000s to what is this new shape Corolla, 2020-ish? Or 2019? Yeah. Up until then was boring. The Hilux, I'm sorry to say, it was ugly.
Yeah.
It was ugly. It was like, obviously it was a farmer's bucky, but even the luxury models was crap. Fortuners, crap. Land Cruisers, that was about the only thing that was okay, I feel like. Now, you have the GR Yaris, you've got the GR Corolla, you've got the Supra. The Land Cruiser is super luxury inside and still can go off-road properly.
The new
The
Prado looks
Hilux,
lacquer.
the new Prado looks lacquer, that looks
The
awesome.
86.
One of
The
my
86.
mates had the Range Rover that shame has been in the shop forever. But he drove the Prado and he's like, the build quality. But I mean, if you compare it to a Range Rover, it's probably not going to be there. But I love the Prado.
Only car from Toyota that you should still not buy, there's two.
Etios.
There's three. It's Fortuner,
The new Fortuna's
It's crap. It's crap. Go drive one.
it's not
It's
crap.
crap.
It's a Hilux with a closed cab, bro. It's what it is.
A Hilux drives better than a Fortuner.
Why?
A Fortuner
thing,
still
really.
feels like it wants to dauner over.
The first ones, yes, and
The latest ones are nice.
the only reason why I disagree with that is because I've driven one for quite a while, for a couple of Ks. I think they misunderstood because they're honest, and they don't.
It's a bucky that's closed up.
It's a thing that's closed up. It's perfect for it's reliable. I've driven one recently again when I sat on the highway at basically just above the average speed limit. I thought to myself, why the hell would you buy actually anything else?
If you pay more than R1 million for a Fortuner,
True,
which
okay.
you do,
Yes,
which
true.
you
Okay,
do,
yes, I agree with you on that.
and you don't
That's what I-
buy an Everest, for example, you're wrong in the head. Because go drive them back to back.
You're not going to get anything from your million back if you drive an Everest these days.
Yes, you are.
Not compared to a Fortuner, you know.
Just drive it into the sea.
I don't think you
You're
should
gonna
pay
lease
any,
200, 300
I wouldn't pay for any of those things over $1 million. I think
Yeah.
second hand, like
So, given that the Fortuner is enormously popular in this country, and we do not want to lose all of our listeners,
And not
shall
as
we move
popular at this
swiftly
time.
on?
so there's the Etios, Tall Fortuner. What is the third one?
Urban Cruiser.
Urban Cruiser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because
And
it's Indian
what's
built
that, what's
and
that other
very
stupid
unsafe.
little thing they've got? The Agyo or
Hang it's okay, man. It's
not
like a
the,
little-
not the Igo. It's got a funny name.
Starlet.
Agya or
Agya.
What
whatever.
is
it is.
that? Yeah, what is that?
It's like I don't know. It's like one of the
It's like
collaborations.
you take a.
What even is that?
Do you remember bully beef?
Yeah.
Right? You
Little
take a
tin.
tin of bully beef, right? And then you take a couple of beer bottle tops and you screw them on there as wheels.
And you go.
And then you put a Toyota badge on it, and that's basically it.
Okay.
It's powered by a cockroach or something, and it's just awful.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm sorry for offending anyone, but the Fortuner's crap.
Okay,
The rest of Toyota
So-
Not a fan.
the rest
So
of
hang on a
Toyota is
second.
brilliant.
the Golf 5 is crap. The Toyota is crap.
Mate, if
But the GR is so
you put any of you guys put your money where your mouth is and go and buy a Fortuner,
I wouldn't buy a new one. I definitely wouldn't
No,
buy a
I
new
wouldn't
one.
buy
what the fuck is the point then?
What do you mean?
Because I would buy a second-hand one. Like
It's
just
still
to-
shit. and no wait, Mister, I'm smart. Fortunate doesn't. You're not going to lose your value. So you're anyways going to almost be paying $1 million for something that's crap.
I was going to offer, like, I've got a Fortuner available to pull the Supra. That's not on the table anymore.
It's
like,
fine.
It's,
Whatever.
So we are not going to approach Toyota for a
yeah, exactly.
They can give us anything. I
We're
would,
going to be towing with an Agya.
Fortunately, we have a RAV4 Toyota.
I would go as far to say the Corolla Cross is better than Fortuner.
Corolla Cross is a nice car.
It's a nicer driving thing than Fortuner.
Yes, it's a better car than a Fortuner. Absolutely.
Once again, for driving on the road or whatever,
No, it's a better car than a Fortuner.
It's a better car, but the Fortuner is a truck.
The Fortuner is a truck that's closed up.
I still don't want to go off-road in Fortuner.
It's
Anyway,
Hilux, bro.
It's okay, there's Democrats in the world too. We have
Andre,
to accept that.
your unlikely love affair with a brand.
It was Toyota.
It's
So-
actually, the good thing is like...
So let's say... No, it isn't really. I wanted to say...
thing that we all agree Toyota.
Yeah.
I wanted
we all
to
agree
say
Toyota,
Lexus, but I don't actually like the new Lexus. it's like Lexus as a brand has grown on me, so I like the older Lexus. Now I will go buy myself an LS400 now or something, which I didn't like before. So the brand grew on me, but the latest models not so much.
It's because you're moving into the age bracket of their target demographic, I think.
See,
You know, the over 60s.
I see. I don't know, bro. You go first.
I'll go first.
I need to think. I don't know.
I actually thought of an alternative. So I would have also, for the record, would have said Toyota.
Yeah.
Because I think I mean, weirdly enough, every time I visit them, I drive, my dad's got like a 1.2 turbo Corolla. And I thought like, geez, this is actually a lot of fun to drive.
like a car.
It's a lacquer car. It's got rev match. It's got a rev match function. Like, and you actually feel like, I've hopped on about it before, but every time I get in, I think, geez, this is actually quite nice to drive. I wouldn't mind driving this every day.
It's solid. It's
Solid, yes. But okay, so now I can't choose that. So the alternative for me is, and it's not because I ever owned it, but I find myself going into the classifieds, looking at these quite often, and that's anything from the Land Rover dash Range Rover sort of stable. And there is something when you're in one of those, and I not too long ago even drove around the Defender for like a day and a half, and it's just such a cool, and there's such a cult following around it, and I never really get it until you're in a newer discovery.
It's
or you're
a cool
in a
thing.
It is such a cool thing. Like, and I
Pity
quite
about the reliability.
yeah. So I actually looked recently at you remember the Discovery Sport, and I know that's probably suicide to buy something like that. And then I saw like, and I don't mean new. I never like. I mean, it's not that sort of.
But
I
a
think to myself,
modern one, like
wow, for like 400-500 grand, you can buy one with fairly low mileage, and you've got that sort of level of luxury.
and it's
like,
a bit of a baller on a budget.
Yes,
because it does look a lot more expensive. Even the
it
Discovery
looks a lot more
Sport.
expensive than what you think. People, if you drive around, it says big Land Rover on the back. People that are unbeknownst to them is not gonna. And then I start thinking about the maintenance, and it's like, ooh, that's gonna be a bad decision. But I do, that's kind of like.
If
my
you're
sort of
talking about
brand.
a car that holds its value, the previous Defenders.
Yes, the old Defenders.
Big
Yeah.
money.
Mad.
They big money.
But the
They
later
don't make them
models.
anymore.
Super slow.
Yeah.
But they so awesome.
But
I've got such a love for them.
The later models, the last ones they made,
Pumas.
crazy.
the
The Pumas and the
Pumas,
2.5s just before that, crazy values. Like in the 2000s, those ones.
Yeah.
It's mad. It's like the prices they command is like
Yeah,
absolutely
crazy. Have you thought about something else?
No, you can go for it.
Put me on the spot. For the
were you-
record, I was going to say Toyota.
Legit? Are you serious? Yes.
I mean,
okay.
I just like the way that the direction that they're going in is.
No, but you can't pick them again.
No,
You
no,
say
I won't.
women.
I'm just saying that the direction they're going in shows that they care about drivers.
Yes.
You know, they're still building the taxis, the transport appliances, but they do care about people who care about driving.
They build fun cars. They've got multiple options.
Exactly, that's the
for
thing.
Fun cars.
They're not necessarily stupid fast cars, but
No.
they're fun to drive
And
things,
the essence-
and they're affordable.
And I think the essence of some of the super fast stuff is also trickled down somewhere into their cheaper stuff.
Yeah.
Some of the lower models, you can feel like there is a little bit of that. It's not like it's just a Halo model.
The Japanese ones in any case.
Yeah.
But if I have to say something that a brand that I would have never considered, and
I know what that's going to be.
now I'm like, actually, that kind of makes sense. It's not Tesla. Because I think that's
know
what you're
it's
thinking. Oh no, it's not that either. Because
not this.
I've always liked Alpha.
Well, it
I
should
just
be that.
I just never owned one before.
Good man. I thought
But-
you were going to like bring us into different.
It's not one specific brand, but it's a whole group, and I know that I'm going to get a lot of shtick from a lot of people in the comments. But these new Chinese things,
Which one
holy
specifically?
crap! Like the other day, a customer had parked, not a customer, one of the guests in the hotel next door, parked their Cherry Tiggo Pro 8 in front of the dealership, and when we opened up the following morning, I had to move it across the road. That thing looks like the Starship Enterprise inside. It is so comfy. It's got huge screens. Okay, I'm not a big fan of screens and stuff, but everything is so nicely put together. The quality is insane. The leather feels soft and expensive and luxurious. It's quiet. It goes over these bumps and things and you don't even feel it. It doesn't rattle. It doesn't squeak. I would genuinely consider, especially at the price point where you can get those things, it's a hell of a lot of car for the money. And they come with huge warranties. So clearly they think that they're reliable.
Well,
But, I mean,
it's quite crazy if you think that.
if you think a couple of years ago,
What they were making. Remember
the Cherry
was
QQ,
exactly the same thing.
they're not making.
that was like the dictionary definition of a shitbox.
Yeah.
They're not
And
making
now-
the rattle boxes anymore. But I've still got my.
Look, I've got my reservations
Reservations.
about it. And there's that sort of thing inside you that says, No, you can't
feel
buy a
right.
Cherry, but I swear if I didn't see the badge on that thing, I would have thought it's a Range Rover.
But I think like
Because you get in it and it's
Yeah.
just, it's got that feel. It's got that quality cocoon feel. You close the door and you can't hear anything. It's just, I genuinely can't
Better
understand.
than it's
how-
as any business be.
Yeah, I can't understand how they have made the leap from the
Yeah.
QQ to this in such a short space of time.
You know, like I almost equate this sometimes to like, you know, I think the problem we as car enthusiasts have is we want everything to be an event. It's like not everything in life is like a freaking mountain you climb. You know, it's not everything is complex. And sometimes you just want to sit in something comfortable and just drive. You just want something that takes you from A to B without worrying
Look,
too much.
I don't think I'll ever love it. I don't think I'll ever, you know,
But as an appliance to get to work, it's pretty.
it's unreal. I mean, it genuinely is. And yeah,
They also don't look that terrible. The Jayco or whatever that looks like a little Range Rover.
it's like a
thing.
mini Range Rover.
They must
Yeah.
just sort out their naming. The Chinese
Yeah.
just have to
Yeah,
sort
just-
out their naming.
Just
Please
pay an
just-
English person.
Like,
Let them
what
do
the
stuff.
hell does Tegu
So
you see the
Jayco, Cherry, if
The
you're
worst
listening,
is BYD, Dolphin. Like, I mean, no one's gonna like at the swingers party like pull out like this thing says Dolphin on it. Like, you know, you're not gonna. You know? But if you
That's what it sounds like when it doesn't start on a winter's morning.
Have you seen the new BYD Bucky? Like, you read the special thing. This is a seriously cool piece of kit.
Yeah.
And then the name of it, Shark. I don't know. Why would I drive a thing called Shark or Dolphin?
Especially not if you're a Stormers supporter.
or Seal. Yeah.
sales in Durban have really picked up.
Who decides these names? Or like, you know, the same like with you know, luckily with Jolien it's quite okay, right? I mean, but GWM with the Pur, it was called the Pur. And then they renamed it the P series, right? It was called the Pur.
That's what
called
P is
the
for. So P is
That's
for
why they call
Pur.
it Pur. And they realized everyone's gonna scratch off the R's everywhere and write something else.
Put in your move.
Yeah.
Poop. Just for the he meant poop.
Poop, yeah. But another P there at the end, man.
But yeah, I like I said, it's my unlikely hero is some of these Chinese things that have just popped up out of nowhere that we've never heard of before, and I have sort of my reservations about the brand snobbery.
Before you would buy one,
It's
but-
always going to be there.
but
Look,
as a
I would,
thing, it's
I would
not.
very seriously consider buying one as our family car, because as a thing to get from A to B comfortably, quietly with your Apple or Android and music and whatever,
I don't know the things
you
you're
can't
talking
beat
about
it
in the context of a car.
In terms of music.
Because I've no reference for that in a car, those things you're talking about. But we must also remember the Koreans were there
Yeah,
15 years, 20 years ago, right? It was like this Hyundai, and they've also come a long way from the original
Also
accent.
freaking expensive.
And the
Hyundai was
they now-
one of my second things to
Yeah.
maybe.
Hyundai and Kia, they actually make some pretty good cars.
Hyundai and Kia make some good
Yeah.
Some of them not so great.
I really badly want the new Santa Fe.
They are lacquer cars.
I really badly want the new Santa Fe.
The previous Tucson, not the previous Tucson, when was that? Like late 2000s.
The diesel,
Tucson.
the V6.
Yeah, no, but just the shape.
Yeah.
It was one of the best looking SUVs for me. Before that, this weird big lights and stuff. It was really a good looking car.
Of course, call it a Tucson.
Tucson. But they used to also like Korean. It's not a Japanese car. And I mean now they've pretty much, well, some models have a bit of a reputation overseas for this one, the Beta or the Gamma. One of the engines was very problematic, but you know. My wife's always been driving Hyundais, never had a day's issues, and you can see as she got newer ones how every time
leap
how they
is huge.
step up. They've always been reliable, but
The leap in
design
quality and
stuff
design
always,
is big.
and
But
always
I
well-spec'd,
do
always-
notice, Andre, that you do seem to be avoiding
Treading water, yeah.
answering the question here.
What is the...
What is your unlikely hero brand?
Didn't I say?
Is it going to be Hyundai? Is that what you're going with?
No, it's not.
You skipped this twice
Oh.
now, so you have to...
You skipped it 3 times now.
It's okay to say BMW. We're not going to offend you.
No, the Germans are. I'm over the Germans. Actually,
Actually,
Mazda.
I was actually
Okay.
considering going with Mazda because
So it's interesting because Mazda, it's not. It's kind of a weird one. It's almost like your Chinese thing, where it's not that they are making cars that are like super, amazing.
they're just
Like, it's
really
it's
good.
not like the Toyota thing, but they're making really good, solid cars that actually look pretty good. The Estina, the 3, all
they're-
their little SUV things,
And they're sort
it's-
of reasonably
they're
priced. They're
and they're real cars with normally aspirated engines.
CX-5 is a good looking thing.
It's not like a 900cc with 3 turbos or whatever to make the thing go. It's got a 2-liter engine or a 6.
Yeah.
And the Sky
Active.
Sky Active technology, they actually
It works.
They're good power for that, and they're very economical. It's a very honest car, and they look
So
pretty good.
I was going to sort of head down the Mazda track as well because I think they've built some really nice cars.
They're very
lately.
underrated.
They are very
people
underrated.
Don't even mention it. If you look at a car, people always say, "Oh,
But
the Toyota."
It was selling, I would say,
But there's
just after
one-
COVID, they were selling quite a few of the CX-5s and
Yeah.
CX-3s.
They're nice cars.
There's one reason that I cannot say Mazda though, and it's because of what they did to the MX-5 in South Africa specifically.
The automatic.
I mean, the
Debacle.
MX-5 is by definition a nice, chuckable,
Manual sports
manual roadster. And what does South African Mazda do? It goes, oh, let's
do it."
only sell the automatic coupe.
And also the heavier, yeah, exactly, the
They
heavier one.
completely ruined it.
It's like,
There's no point.
Has they ever
like,
sold
what?
anyone? I wonder if they actually sold any.
well, they've sold a few of them, and I'm sure the reason they went that route was because they said, well, we can only carry one of these ranges. Which one have we sold the most of? And that was the one they had happened to sell the most of. But
I wonder what
it's
is the
just
buyer?
stupid.
If
No
you
one
try-
should buy that.
But,
But
yeah,
I think
who's
I
the
think
buyer
the-
for a car like
I
that?
think the problem is
Maybe
that-
hairdressers
No, no.
prefer it.
honestly, I think the problem is that the guys who buy new cars
Yeah.
are not car guys.
That's a
We
good
buy
point.
used, and we are not the guys that they are catering for. So, used market is now screwed because you cannot find a manual ND MX-5.
Yeah.
But new, they didn't care. I mean, they sold the automatic coupe, and I just because I would actually love to have an ND MX-5. I think it's a really good looking
like
car,
them,
and by many people's accounts that I would rate quite highly, the ND is the best MX-5 ever. So I would love to have one, but I suspect you'll never find one.
That one track day we were at, Neil. Do you remember that guy with his MX-5? That
Very
thing
nice.
was
Yes.
super nice.
So nicely sorted.
White one.
Yes. He had like this black fender or something. It's such
Wasn't he
a
also
nice
at
business.
the Dino Day?
Yes.
Nice
yes.
little segue, by the way. A member of our WhatsApp group, one Mr. Corne van Zyl, who also happens to do a lot of the photography that used to be on the old Carbs and Coffee website, has recently purchased an MX-5 after years of keeping us on the edge of our seats saying, oh, I'm going to buy a sports car, oh, I'm going to buy a sports car. We shopped pretty much everywhere and it just never seemed to happen. We even had a little bet going amongst ourselves whether he would actually buy a car
I'm
this year
still
or
waiting
not.
for my payout though. You know?
Same here.
43 years.
Titanic voice, basically.
I mean, literally the WhatsApp group was being kept alive by conversations about what car Cornet's going to buy. And he has bought a super, super clean,
Very
which
nice little car.
I'm really looking forward to actually seeing it. A super
NA.
clean white NA MX-5.
The original,
The original OG with its optional hardtop as well.
Beautiful
pretty
little
little
car.
Stunning
Very
little thing. It looks great. And I really hope he enjoys
That was the
it.
right car that he bought.
Yeah,
Really-
no, absolutely.
Funny enough, now that you mentioned that car on the hardtop, you know what older car I kind of thought about that I actually do like the convertible version with the hardtop on, which I would buy the car if I had like, money to throw around. I would buy that car, buy the convertible version, take the hardtop and weld the hardtop onto the car and, make
Which
it
car is that?
S2000.
the E36. the E36 with the hard top on it, it just changes the look of the car. I'll show you a photo of it. For some reason, it just looks cooler for me with the hard top in the convertible form.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, the coupe...
It just works.
You take one without a roof and put a roof up and...
Nico's on a roll this episode, guys. Like, controversial opinions all round today, Nico. You're coming
but
guys
I mean,
blazing.
it's
I don't know
fine.
what he's been putting in the water, but it's not working for him.
While you guys talk among yourselves, I'm gonna... Ooh, this is a lowered one. And
I think whilst you look for the picture, let's call things to an end. I think we've had a good chat here. We all disagree with Niku.
Of course.
We all think Toyota has come
It's
full
a universal
circle.
answer, right?
Yeah.
All four of us.
It's rare that we all agree
It's
on one
very
thing.
ironic that Toyota is making the most interesting range of cars
Yeah.
for enthusiasts.
Honorable mentions on the downside. I think I've been because I used to be a very big BMW fan. I've been very disappointed in their latest offerings.
Yeah. I can't look at them anymore.
It's only you two.
No, but
I can't even put a shirt on with one on.
I think that currently probably the best driving car that they make is probably, in my opinion, I think the M2. But it is so ugly.
I can't.
I couldn't.
I can't do M3. I can't do M2. I can't do M4.
The
I can't.
the M3 is
The new
probably
M-
the M3 is probably a brilliant car, but I think it's too big.
Yeah. And
The
it's got a
M5
grille
is
that looks
enormous.
Like, the M5 I can't.
M5 not, but
2.5 tons.
M3, M4 I think is
Yeah.
noise.
M2.
So BMW,
M3
me and
The
Neil, me
wagon
and Neil,
looks better.
If you
me and
want us
Neil
to
will
comment
drive
on
your
it,
cars, and then Quentin and Andre can drive the Fortune.
Yeah. that I agree on. That I will definitely agree on.
I will make that statement. I will daily a Fortuner before I would daily an M3 or M4. Because
Okay,
I wouldn't
hang
want
on a
to
second.
see
Hang on a
I see
second.
Neil
Let's
thinking.
just swing this around for you. Which owners club would you rather join?
We'll flip. It's the option none. Can I be non-binary in that case?
I am a married man. If I was not, I would join the Fortuner Owners Club.
Okay, and on that note, let's try to stay classy.
I mean, who drives the Fortuners?
Mama's with the
Who drives the M3s? Some blogger
Let's end it
that's
right
about,
here. Let's end it right here.
some blogger is about to end up in a ditch.
I'm just gonna mute Andre's mic before it gets too hot. But yeah,
Just threatening to hit people, I guess, as well, right?
guys, it's been fun. It's been real. It's been scarily unedited. We will be back again. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
Smash the subscribe button.
Smash the subscribe button.
Share and like.
Share and like.
Lossy Fortunate drivers. San Diego.
We have angered the Niku.
Something like a GR Fortunate kry. A GR spec Fortunate. Jy en al die yummy mummies van skool.
Ek was nog nooit so bang by leer soos om die nuwe Fortune van hulle se te af.
Wat doen jy?